چلیں جہاں پہ لاسٹ ٹائم ہم نے کلاس جو ہے اس کو بریک کیا تھا اسی جگہ شروع کرتے ہیں. اس چارٹ والا کیس تھا, اس کی ہم نے ریڈنگ شروع کی ہوئی تھی فائنینشیل پروجیکشنز کی بیک گراؤنڈ میں. شروع کرتے ہیں وہیں سے بات شروع کرتے ہیں جہاں پہ لاسٹ ٹائم ہم نے کلوز کی تھی بات. میں آپ سے شیئر کرتا ہوں کیس. جی اسکرین شیئر ہو رہی ہے؟
نو سر.
یس سر.
نو سر.
یس سر.
بس
سر ہو رہی ہے.
شیئر ہو جائے گی.
یس.
رائٹ, ہم نے لاسٹ ٹائم اس کے اوپر بات شروع کی تھی. چند لائنز اس کی ریکال کر لیتے ہیں تاکہ آج کی ڈسکشن کے ساتھ کنیکشن رہے, جن میں سے ہم نے کچھ مارک کی تھی. دس پائپ لائن is to be laid down to explore the reserves, oil reserves in Chad, which is one of the poorest country on the earth, and it faces, and there are various environmental and social risks involved. Compounding these risks was an unstable political structure. There were warlords, and one of the warlords was ruling that specific country. And here the question was, what will be the use of the project cash flows? If there is some project, they are supposed to pay a fixed amount to the Chad government. What will be the use of that cash flow? Will that be spent on the people of that specific country, or will that specific amount will be used to suppress the human rights in that specific country? The project was initially conceived in 1997 when this specific reserve was discovered. In 1999, Shell and ELF dropped out the consortium, citing concerns over the project economics. It means they were of the opinion that the project is not economically viable. However, 6 months later, two new companies, one is Petronas and other is Chevron, both entered in a consortium, one with 35% stake and other 25 with 25% stake. ExxonMobil was the leading partner with shareholding of 40% of the project. The total, there was some strengths and weaknesses of the main sponsor, which is ExxonMobil. This company is working in upstream as well as in downstream. It was also has refineries. It has multiple businesses in the field of coal, mineral, power, and other mining projects. Today we will start discussion from this project description. The sponsor planned to develop 3.7 billion project in two parts: 1.5 billion field system to extract oil and from the Doba Basin in Chad, and a 2.2 billion export system to transport oil to the coastal city of Kribi. The field system would consist of 300 wells in 3 fields, a treatment facility to upgrade the oil, and operating center to support production. Geologic studies confirmed by independent consultants estimated that field contained total proven plus probable reserves of 917 million barrels and could produce up to 250,000 barrels per day using known technologies. 2 वर्ड इसके अंदर इंपॉर्टेंट आ गए. नंबर 1 एक हुआ, बात हुई है इंडिपेंडेंट कंसल्टेंट्स के हवाले से स्टडी की, It means this point is in favor of this project. We put one color here. And second one is that this specific project will use known technologies, conventional technologies for exploration. The, ex- the export system would consist of a 670-mile pipeline buried 1 meter or 3.3 foot underground. It would contain a monitoring system to detect leaks and be connected to a floating storage and offloading vessel, a stationary single-hulled tanker capable of holding 2 million barrels of oil. The sponsor agreed to buy all of the output at market price in proportion to their ownership. It means the all of the quantity that will be exported from the field that will first stored in a vehicle, in a floating storage vehicle, and from here it will be exported to the companies. The price will be the market price agreed between the parties. Production would end by 2030, at which time the project would end. According to the plan, an unincorporated joint venture known as Upstream Consortium would own and finance field system. So organizational structure here is one JV, that is unincorporated, known as Upstream Consortium, would own and finance the field system. We will see exhibits one by one. Uh, the Chad Oil Transportation Company, a special purpose vehicle entity incorporated as a JV between Upstream Consortium and Chad government, and would own the Chad portion of the pipeline. Cameron Oil Transportation Company, an incorporated venture between the Upstream Consortium and Chad and Cameroon governments, would own the Cameroon section of the pipeline. It means extraction from Chad, where one company, where three companies, which are Petronas, Chevron, and Exxon, they will own this specific project. For export system, there are two companies. When this specific pipeline is passing through Chad, there is Chad Oil Transportation Company that will be one of the sponsor. And when this specific pipeline will pass through Cameroon to reach the Caribbean, then Cameroon Pipeline Company will be the sponsor, one of the sponsor of the company of the project. Both are in joint venture between Upstream Company Chad and Cameroon government, would own the Cameroon section of the pipeline. ISOCHARD, a wholly owned subsidiary of ExxonMobil, would be responsible for project coordination and upstream operations. It means Exxon will not directly operate there. Exxon will create one subsidiary 100% owned by the ExxonMobil, and that company uh, will participate in the activities in upstream operations. It means it is export system. Using construction, Assuming construction began in 2000 and contractors met the schedule approved by the independent consultants, the project would be completed in 2004. During construction, the project would employ as many as 7,000 people. It would imply 500 to 800 people once operation began. It means operation phase. Most of the skilled workers would be foreigner, but ExxonMobil hoped that 80% of the employees during operation could be would be local citizens with extensive training and other and, skill enhancement. Financial projections: the sponsor choose to use project finance for field system and project finance for the export system. The structure facilitated equity participation of the host government and issuance of the limited recourse debt by the pipeline companies. The sponsors would guarantee debt repayments through not but after completion. The treasurer of Exxon Exploration Company explained the firm policies. Right. It means two different ways of financing are used. One section is through the field system is through corporate finance and project finance is used for export system. But is reason that these two are used, we will discuss in detail. This structure facilitated equity participation by the host government and issuance of limited recourse debt by pipeline companies. It means for the export system, there is some limited recourse is available. Treasury of Exxon Exploration Company explained the firm policy. We most often borrow centrally. This has minimized borrowing costs by capitalizing on the deep efficient market and drawing on the cash flow support of our global operation. Despite our prediction for funding most projects from central sources, we believe project finance can make a constructive contribution to managing risk of the project in a number of areas. However, project finance is not a panacea. We need to assess whether the added costs entailed are worth the various risk mitigation steps achieved. The post structure included 2.3 billion of equity, of which 2.2 billion will come from private sponsors. The it means Chevron and Petronas. And third one is ExxonMobil. The International Bank of Reconstruction and Development and European Investment Bank had agreed to lend the host country funds to finance their equity stakes. IBRD, a member of the World Bank Group, would lend 77 billion, while EIB, the financing institution of the European Union, would lend 42 million. This loan will be provided to the governments of the governments of Chad and Cameroon, and they will use this money as a equity participation in the project. The 1.4 billion project debt would come from three sources: International Finance Corporation, two export credit agencies, and capital markets. IFC, also a member of the World Bank Group, would make 100 million a loan for its own account and up to 300 million B loan for syndication to other institutions. It means 100 million will be provided by AFC and remaining 200 will be through consortium of different banks, a syndication. The two export credit agencies, COFACE from the France and the US Export Import Bank, US Exim, would arrange 600 billion of bank financing. ECA agreed. Export credit agencies are those companies that provide the machinery and plant, and that amount will be provided on the credit. So the fund provided by these institutions will be used in their own countries for purchasing of the plant machinery or other materials. So technically, this is not in the form of cash. This is in the form of some ASICs. Arrange financing in exchange for commitments to buy French and US equipment for the project. Finally, COTCO and DOTCO would issue 400 million in bonds when all financing was in place. COTCO and COTCO would have leverage ratios of 62 and 64% respectively. It means the component of the debt companies, to the state-sponsored companies, will lie between 62 to 64%. The base case financial projections assume the field would produce 883 million barrels of saleable crude oil and out of the 817 million barrels of reserves. Within an average price of more than $15 per barrel, total reserves would be 13.7 billion. Distributions to Chad, Cameroon, and private sponsors would come in the form of royalties, taxes, and dividends. Right, we are talking about the total revenue that can be generated from this project. We will assuming the expected average price for this specific project. The relevant exhibit provide information about these issues. Secondly, the amount to be distributed to the Chad, Cameroon, and private sponsor would come in the form of royalties to the government, taxes to the government, and dividend to the equity providers. Because the majority of charge distribution would come in the form of royalties, its returns were closely tied to the project revenues. In addition, it was scheduled to receive a 25 million payment from Chevron and Petronas at financial close, a payment for tax benefit received when they joined the consortium. So this is another amount that will be received by the child government at the end of the project. As a pipeline owner, Cameroon returns would be a function of pipeline volume. Exhibit 5 provide a matrix of the return given various island price volume scenarios. And if price is this and this much quantity is transported through Cameroon, this much amount will be paid to the government. So with the change in volume, with the change in price, ultimately the return of Cameroon government will change. If we think about similar project, let us suppose Tajikistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, the same scenario. It means government of Pakistan will receive a specific uh, amount per year for providing facility to transport oil from Tajikistan to India. So it is technically a fixed amount of cash flow that you will receive on average. Sensitivity analysis revealed that project returns were driven by oil price and volume assumptions. The bank technical staff and independent consultants confirmed that actual results could vary from 595 million barrels to proven reserves of 1038 million barrels proven, probable and possible reserve. It means 600 million to 1000. When you are evaluating the project, it means you may take different scenarios. If reserves are 60 million, if production is 700 million, if production is 800 million, and so on. Price assumptions were based on Brent crude prices, which had ranged from $9 to $45 per barrel over the last 18 years, with an average of $20 per barrel. It means as this project will be completed in 2004 and it will provide oil up to 2032, next 28 years. So it means in 28 years there will be various cycles of rise in price and fall in price. You cannot assume that price will be this much in this specific year, or it will go high in the next year or low in the subsequent years. So you have to use some average price, and that average price is taken as $20 per barrel on the basis of the historical experience that the minimum price that was observed in last 20 years was $9, and it touched a level of 42 in during this period. So an average expected price is 20 barrel. We all know that today the price is on lower side, and in past we have already seen that prices were up to $140 per barrel. There are two benchmark in the world. Ideally, there are three major oil categories. The two major benchmarks are Brent and Brent and WTI, Western Texas International. Uh, One is benchmark for US and other is benchmark for Europe. Europe uses Brent, whereas American use WTI as a benchmark. So in an international market, oil future prices are generally quoted for WTI and Brent.
Sir, what is
Given
WTI?
WTI जो है वेस्टर्न टेक्सास इंटरनेशनल जो है का लफ्ज यूज होता है, यानी अमेरिकन ऑयल जो है उसके लिए ये टर्म यूज की जाती है, और ब्रेंट का जो है ये चाइना, अपना यूरोप और नॉर्थ सी का जो ऑयल है जो इंटरनेशनल मार्केट में आता है उसके लिए ब्रेंट का लफ्ज यूज किया जाता है. तो यूरोप जो है वो बेंचमार्क ऑयल की प्राइस के लिए ब्रेंट को यूज करता है, और अमेरिका जो है वो बेंचमार्क प्राइस जो है वो अमेरिकन कॉन्टिनेंट के अंदर WTI को लिया जाता है. हमारे रीजन के अंदर एक मेजर ऑयल है जिसको अरब स्वीट का लफ्ज यूज किया जाता है, मिडिल ईस्ट वाला ऑयल, इसका भी रेट है. लेकिन ये ओवरऑल जो है आपके पास दुनिया के अंदर जितनी जो ऑयल की प्राइसेस हैं उसके अंदर इसको जो है वो एज अ बेंचमार्क यूज नहीं किया जाता, क्योंकि इसकी जो है ये शायद उन कंट्रीज के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में, क्योंकि उनकी अपनी कंजम्पशन कम है और उनके पास जो प्रोड्यूस होता है उसको एक्सपोर्ट के हवाले से वो ज्यादा आता है, तो इसको जो है वो एक मेजर जो है उसमें नहीं लिया जाता. जनरली ये इसकी प्राइस जो है वो ब्रेंट की प्राइस के क्लोजर ही होती है, ये मार्जिनल सा डिफरेंस होता है. गिवन द एसिडिक corrosive nature of the Doba Basin oil, analysts expected it would sell at a discount of 10% to 20% below Brent. यानी इसका मतलब है कि Brent अगर बेंचमार्क है तो Brent की जो ٹن آف ایکولنٹ جو ہے اس کا انرجی کمپوننٹ ہے، اس انرجی کمپوننٹ سے یہ اس کی کوالٹی کم ہوگی. اگر اس کی کوالٹی کم ہوگی تو الٹیمیٹلی اس کی پرائس کو بھی کم ہونا چاہیے. یہ کم کوالٹی جو ہے اس کو جب یہ ریفائننگ کے پروسیس میں جاتا ہے تو پھر اسٹینڈرڈائز کر لیا جاتا ہے. لیکن اس کا مطلب یہ ہے کہ اگر آپ کے پاس اس کی کوالٹی لو ہے تو آپ 100 بیرل سے جو پیور آپ کے پاس کمپوننٹ آئے گا اس کی کوانٹٹی کم ہوگی، تو وہ پرائس کے اندر اس کی ڈسکاؤنٹنگ ہوتی ہے. جتنا جو ہے آپ کے پاس کوئی ایک جو آئرن اور ہے، کوئی کروڈ آئل ہے، کوئی اور چیز، جیسے جیسے اس کی کوالٹی ویری کرتی ہے تو بینچ مارک کے ساتھ پرائس پلس یا مائنس ہوتی چلی جاتی ہے. Even with the discount, the price was well above the project's finding and development cost of 5.2 بار. اس کا مطلب ہے کہ کاسٹ پر بیرل ہے 5.2، انٹرنیشنل مارکیٹ میں 5.2 سے اوپر جو بھی پرائس ہے وہ ساری کی ساری پرائس اس کے لیے وائبل ہے. ہم نے بات کی کہ ایوریج جو ہے وہ برینڈ کی پرائس 20 ہوگی، اس کا مطلب ہے 20% ڈسکاؤنٹ بھی اگر اس کے اوپر لے لیں تو یہ $16 پر بیرل تو اس کی پرائس بنتی ہی ہے. جبکہ اس کی کاسٹ ہے 5.2، تو شاید جب ہم اس کی پروجیکٹ ایویلویشن کریں تو یہ وائبل ہو. Shortly after gathering independence from France in 1960, Chad erupted in a civil war and the rebel groups in the north fighting against the government in the south. Fight raged through most of the 1960s and 70s and escalated through the 1980s. According to the government study, over 20,000 people were killed and thousands were more tortured during this period. General Idriss Deby, a French trained army officer and opposition leader, came to power in 1990s after staging a coup against the government. One political analyst described him this way: Chadian President Idris is a warlord. Few credible analysts would argue that Deby is anything other than an African strongman whose weapon purchase dwarf levels of social spending in one of the world's poorest countries where incidents of political violence continue. As recently as 1998, Deby's troops had massacred 100 unarmed civilians and imprisoned uh, Negrelji Yoranger, a member of parliament and leading opposition figure, after he criticized the pipeline. That year, Amnesty International and US State Department criticized the Deby's regime. State security forces continue to commit extrajudicial killing and they torture, beat, abuse, and rape persons. Prison conditions remain harsh and life-threatening. Security forces continue to use arbitrary arrests and detentions. Although the government detains and imprisons, it rarely persecutes. ان چیزوں کو، بہت ساری چیزوں کو آپ اپنے لوکل جو ہے ڈائنامکس کے ساتھ بھی کمپیئر کر سکتے ہیں کہ جب یہ چیزیں ہوتی ہیں تو انٹرنیشنل فورمز پہ ان کی ڈیبیٹ کیسے ہوتی ہے. مینی ایئرز آف پولیٹیکل انسٹیبلٹی سیویئرلی ہیمپرڈ چارڈز اکنامک ڈیولپمنٹ. سنس Deby seized power, output levels had declined, the government had consistently run budget deficits, and the external debt had more than doubled. Whereas public and foreign investment came largely from international development institutions such as World Bank and International Monetary Fund, the war had significantly reduced overall investment. لازم بات ہے کہ انریسٹ ہے تو کیپٹل کو تو سیفٹی چاہیے، سیکورٹی چاہیے. ایسے کنٹریز میں کہیں سے انویسٹمنٹ نہیں آتی. As of 1999, Chad was one of the poorest, least developed nations in the world and showed a few signs of reversing its slow decline. Exhibit 8 ہے، دیکھتے ہیں. Approximately 80% of the 70 million citizens lived on less than $1 a day. Poverty level کی اس وقت کی ڈیفینیشن، اب یہ $2 پر ڈے ہے، اس وقت یہ $1 پر ڈے تھی. Except for oil, the landlocked country had few natural resources and lacked even rudimentary infrastructure needed for development. Practically infrastructure بھی existent وہاں پہ نہیں ہے. There were only 267 kilometers of paved road in the country, almost 3 times larger than France. صرف 267 کلومیٹر کی سڑکیں ہیں اس کنٹری کے اندر، اور اس کا رقبہ فرانس سے بڑا ہے. نو ریلویز، پور ٹیلی کمیونیکیشن، 2 phones per 1,000 people, and irregular electricity supply. In terms of living conditions, poor nutrition and unsafe water, less than 25% of the population had access to clean water, contributed a life expectancy of 49 years and an infant mortality rate of 115 deaths per 1,000 births compared to 78 years and 3 to 6 deaths per 3,000 پر 1,000 برس ان ڈیولپ کنٹریز. یعنی ڈیولپ کنٹریز کے اندر 3 to 6 ڈیتھس ہیں پر 1,000 برس، اور اس کنٹری کے اندر 115. دنیا کے اندر اس وقت ایوریج 78 تھی، اس وقت 89 کے اوپر بھی دنیا کے کچھ کنٹریز موجود ہیں، اور اس کنٹری کے اندر ایوریج ایج 49 ہی ہے. In fact, more than 20% of the children born in Chad died by the age of 5. Based on these conditions and other similar statistics, US ranked Chad 167 out of 174 countries in terms of development. ایک کنٹری کا اسٹرکچر، انفراسٹرکچر، سوشل اسٹرکچر، اکنامک اسٹرکچر، اس کا ایک تھوڑا سا اوور ویو. Cameroon gained its independence from France in 1960. This study developed its oil resources and agriculture sector, but a severe drop in commodity prices in the mid-80s threw the country into a decade-long recession. GDP fell by more than 60% from 1986 to 1994. Government, with support from IMF and World Bank, implemented several reform programs in order to improve, accelerate growth and alleviate poverty. The economy responded favorably and grew at an average rate of 5% per year during mid to late 90s. اس کا مطلب ہے 1995 سے لے کے 2000 کے درمیان. Despite the improvement and favorable relative position vis-a-vis other African countries, Cameroon was still a very poor nation, ranking 134 out of 167 countries on the UN Development Index and 99 out of 99 countries in terms of corruption, according to Transparency International, a non-government organization. In addition, پاکستان کون سے نمبر کے اوپر ہے ڈیولپمنٹ انڈیکس اور ٹرانسپیرنسی انٹرنیشنل کے حوالے سے؟ کرنٹ ایئر کا ذرا دیکھنا ہے. In addition, activists criticized President Diaz's administration for its human rights record. Amnesty International reported large number of people were extrajudicially executed in the north of the country. Torture and ill treatment by the security forces remained routine, and prison conditions amounted to cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment, resulting in high mortality rate. Critics of the government were harassed, arrested, and imprisoned. 36 were convicted after an unfair trial before a military tribunal. یہ جناب اس میں دوسرا اسٹیک ہولڈر، اس کی صورتحال. ورلڈ بینک تھرڈ ون. By any measure, Chad was one of the riskiest places on the earth to invest. The sponsor had stated and commercial bankers had assured that they would not invest without some kind of protection against political risk. The sponsor considered including one or more multilateral development agencies as partners in the deal. The treasurer of Exxon Exploration Company explained political risk associated with the large projects in the development world is the reality that must be thoughtfully assessed and carefully addressed in project planning. While the involvement of the multilateral institutions and other lenders add complexity, their presence can enhance countries' commitment and mitigate project risk. تو ایک بات یہ آ گئی آپ کے پاس امپورٹنٹ کہ پولیٹیکل رسک موجود ہے اور ملٹی لیٹرل ایجنسیز جو ہیں انہیں کی وہی اس کے ذریعے آپ اس کو ایڈریس کرنے کے لیے کوئی میکینزم بنا سکتے ہیں. The World Bank was logically choice to approach because it had extensive lending and policy experience with developing countries and had been working in Chad and Cameroon for many years. Founded in 1944, the World Bank Group mission was to stimulate economic development and alleviate poverty in 183 member countries under the leadership of President James Wolfenson. The World Bank was the largest source of development assistance in the world, providing more than 15 billion in loans to developing countries in 1999 with operation in more than 100 countries. The bank invested in development projects and acted as a lender of the last resort for countries with no other borrowing option. It carried out operations through 5 distinct agencies, each of which focus on different aspects of development. जिसका मतलब है कि वर्ल्ड बैंक ये 5 institutions यूज करता है. International Bank for Reconstruction and Development provided market-based loans and development assistance to help government in middle-income countries. Market-based loans यानी इंटरेस्ट रेट मार्केट वाले होंगे और किन के लिए मिडिल इनकम कंट्रीज जिनकी पे करने की कैपेसिटी एग्जिस्ट करती है. IDA provided subsidized loan, technical assistance and policy advice to the poorest countries. Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency provided investment guarantees. International Center for Settlement of Investment Dispute helped to resolve investment disputes between foreign investor and host countries. इसमें वो हमारे भी केसेस जाते रहते हैं. IFC advised investors was the largest source of debt and equity financing for private sector projects in development countries. The IFC had a reputation of acting as an honest broker between public and private sector and for structuring their fair deals. Over the previous 25 years, the bank had been involved in numerous projects around the world, including at least 10 major pipelines. Besides earning an average pre-tax financial return of 22%, more than 70% of the bank investments achieved their development objectives according to the bank's operation evaluation department. However, projects in Africa and in oil and gas sector experienced low returns and greater problems than other projects in the bank's portfolio. It means कि ये इंस्टीट्यूशन जो है इसका हिस्टोरिकल एक्सपीरियंस है, रेपुटेशन गुड ब्रोकर की है, रेट ऑफ रिटर्न इनका हाई रहा है, लेकिन पास के अंदर भी ये अफ्रीका के अंदर प्रॉब्लम को फेस करते रहे. When the sponsor first approached the bank about participating in the deal, senior management was immediately intrigued by the idea of development project in Chad. First, the project was commercially viable. किसी जगह पे भी इन्वेस्टमेंट करने की पहला जो क्वेश्चन अराइज होता है कि वो यही वाला. When the sponsors first approached to the bank about participating in the deal, the senior management was immediately intrigued by the idea of the major development project in Chad. First, the project was commercially viable. यानी एक पहला पैरामीटर जिसको कोई भी फाइनेंसर देखेगा. And would it be the bank responsibility to ensure the host government received the returns that were commensurate with risk they would bear? Risk and return की distribution कैसे होगी? Second, the project would help jumpstart Chad's listless economy. तीसरी चीज कि इसका जो है चाइना चार्ड की जो है इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट के ऊपर क्या इम्पैक्ट आएगा. द प्रेसिडेंट रोड वी थिंक द प्रोजेक्ट प्रोवाइड्स द बेस्ट एंड परहैप्स द ओनली अपॉर्चुनिटी फॉर चार्ड टू रिड्यूस द सीवियर पॉवर्टी मोस्ट ऑफ द पॉपुलेशन. एक तो देखें फेवर के अंदर आर्गूमेंट यहाँ से आया कि जनाब ये एक कंट्री है जो यहाँ पे जो मोस्ट वीक पोरेस्ट कंट्री है, तो ये एक अपॉर्चुनिटी है जो इन लोगों के लिए हेल्पफुल हो सकती है. Chart development prospects can only be improved significantly through the use of traditional energy source. We know that understanding will involve significant risk. Translating Chart's oil avenues into service which will help the poor directly will be a difficult challenge, and it has been in many countries. ये जो पैसे इसको मिलेंगे ये लोगों के लिए पुअर को डायरेक्ट हेल्प करने के लिए जो है वो यूजफुल भी होंगे या नहीं, क्योंकि पास में इस तरह के इशू जो दुनिया के मुख्तलिफ मुल्कों में देखे जाते रहे. बट वी बिलीव इट इज अ चैलेंज विच अ डेवलपमेंट इंस्टीट्यूशन लाइक द वर्ल्ड बैंक मस्ट टेक अप. एक पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. एंड थर्ड, द बैंक वुड प्ले एन इम्पोर्टेंट रोल इन प्रोटेक्टिंग द एनवायरमेंट एज वेल एज इंडिजिनस पीपल. So its route to the coastline, the pipeline would cross 17 rivers and 5 habitat zones. These zones were home to the rare plant life and endangered species. The forest region were also home to more than 11,000 Bakula people known as pygmies, as hunter and gatherers and the region's oldest known inhabitants. The pygmies depended on the vegetation, land, and wildlife for survival. While यानी इसका मतलब है दो बातें इन्वॉल्व हो गई कि यहाँ पे हमें इन्वायरमेंटल रिस्क को भी देखना होगा और उसके साथ साथ सोशल रिस्क को भी देखना होगा. While bank participation had clear benefits, there were risks if it is choose not to participate. For example, sponsor might abandon the project and look for investment in safer countries. State bank economists recognize this possibility. अगर आप उसको हेल्प नहीं करेंगे उनको यहाँ इन्वेस्टमेंट करने के लिए तो सेफ कंट्री में इन्वेस्टमेंट कर लेंगे. इन्वेस्टर ने कहीं ना कहीं तो इन्वेस्टमेंट करनी ही है. Chad is not the only country with untapped petroleum reserves. Exploration is underway right across the continent to find new oil reserves, which would prove cheaper and more accessible. If Chad does not seize the opportunity, it may well pass the country by. तो एक अपॉर्चुनिटी कंट्री के पास आई है और वो अपॉर्चुनिटी जो है वो फिर जाया हो जाएगी. Another and potentially worse outcome might be if Canadians develop the oil field with other neighbor countries. The Sudanese government had recently financed the pipeline without the bank and was using revenues to fund a civil war. एक एग्जाम्पल है कि सूडान की गवर्नमेंट ने, अब तो वो सेटल हो चुका इशू साउथ सूडान का डार्फर वाला जो इशू था, ये उसका रेफरेंस है कि वो ऑयल बेचते हैं, पैसों से हथियार खरीदते हैं और फिर सिविल वार का हिस्सा बना देते हैं. कोई क्यों नहीं रोक सकता कि उन्होंने वो पाइपलाइन खुद डेवलप की हुई है, उसके लिए कोई मल्टीलेटरल एजेंसी या कंडीशंस मौजूद नहीं है. In addition, Libya's president Muammar Gaddafi had been urging President Deby to drop this deal with the Westerner and ship oil through Libya. Although the US State Department classified both Sudan and Libya as a terrorist nation, they were nevertheless potentially feasible options for exporting oil because much of the rebel opposition and fighting was based in northern Chad. These routes would entail considerable risk. क्योंकि अगर वो लीबिया की तरफ से करेंगे ये तो वही एरिया है जो वार हिट एरिया है. After waiting the opportunity against the alternate, the bank agreed to work with the sponsors in 1995. They began with an extensive consultation process that included meeting with both supporters and opponents. During this process, the bank sponsor and host government enlisted advice from 45 scientists and environmental engineers, hosted 145 meetings with 250 international NGOs, and held nearly 900 village meetings. The ISO Chad spokesman commented, public consultation process for Chad export project has been one of the most extensive consultation efforts ever taken in Africa for an industrial development project. Few similar projects in Europe and America have held so many village-level public consultation meetings over such a wide area. The bank insisted and the government and sponsor agreed that the process should be conducted in an open and transparent way. Towards the end, they posted data collected from environmental surveys on the web, placed project-related information in 17 reading rooms in and around affected area, and distributed nearly 700 copies of the draft environmental assessment. After 5 years of the review and public debate, the sponsor published the final 3,000-page environmental assessment report for comment. The 19-volume study contained contingency plan for almost every aspect of the project. There were plans for, among other things, waste management, oil spills, regional development, indigenous people, off-site environmental enhancement, community health, compensation and resettlement, induced access management, decommissioning, cultural properties, environmental monitoring and management. थोड़ा सा आइडिया हो गया होगा कि environmental assessment के साथ साथ जो है आपने किन किन एरियाज को कवर करना होता है उस रिपोर्ट में. तो ये एक लिस्ट है उन तमाम एस्पेक्ट्स की जिन्हें देखने की जरूरत होती है. साल कितने लगे? 5 लगे इसको मुकम्मल करने में. The analysis and contingency planning addressed 3 key topics: environmental impact, indigenous people, and long-term sustainability, and led to the numerous changes to the sponsor's original plans. For example, after cultural analysis, using satellite imagery and aerial mapping, the sponsor changed the pipeline route in Cameroon to protect the natural habitat and human settlement in Mabry Rift, and Dingdang Forest. The sponsor also increased the benefit for indigenous people under the compensation and resettlement plan. Following these and many other changes, a World Bank report concluded, although there is uncertainty in estimating incremental environmental and social costs, most of these potential costs will be mitigated or compensated for the private sponsors, and any remaining impacts are expected to be negligible in comparison to the large benefit that Chad and Cameroon stand to gain from the project. To address the sustainability, bank established capacity building programs in Chad and Cameroon. Through these programs, the bank hoped to develop the fiscal, legal, regulatory, and managerial infrastructure needed to develop the country's petroleum sector and minimize the project's adverse impact. Concern regarding the last point generated the great opposition, led the bank loan to propose a revenue management plan, something that had ever seen tried before. Right. आइडियली किसी भी कंट्री के जो रेवेन्यूज वो रिसीव करते हैं तो ये सॉवरन राइट होता है कि वो उनको जैसे चाहे स्पेंड करें. इस केस के अंदर जो गवर्नमेंट थी, वर्ल्ड बैंक उसके ऊपर रिलाई नहीं करना चाहता था, तो जो रेवेन्यू रिसीव होगा चार्ड की गवर्नमेंट को, क्योंकि वो उसको लेजिटिमेट गवर्नमेंट कंसीडर नहीं करते थे, तो इसलिए रेवेन्यू मैनेजमेंट प्लान जो है वो एक जो है वो प्रपोज किया गया. और ये प्लान जो है इसको इनिशियली बहुत सारा क्रिटिसिज्म फेस करना पड़ा, क्योंकि ये बुनियादी तौर पे एक तरह की इंफ्रिंजमेंट थी सॉवरन राइट्स के अंदर. क्वेश्चन ये है कि ऐसा होना चाहिए या
सॉवरेन
नहीं.
राइट्स कौन से होते हैं?
यानी एक गवर्नमेंट है, पाकिस्तान की गवर्नमेंट है, पाकिस्तान के अवाम है, उन्होंने ये फैसला करना है कि हमारी जो अर्निंग है हम उसको कैसे एलोकेट करेंगे.
जी.
इस केस में क्या हो रहा था कि जो रेवेन्यू अर्न होगा वो बजाय इसके कि उस कंट्री की गवर्नमेंट, वहां का प्रेसिडेंट डिसाइड करे कि हमने कैसे इन फंड्स को यूज करना है, ये प्लान जो है वो वर्ल्ड बैंक उसको डिक्टेट करने जा रहा था. तो इसलिए ये एक यूनिक सिचुएशन थी, और ये एक फ्यूचर के अंदर जो है वो एक नई जो है एक नई एग्जाम्पल भी सेट होने जा रही थी कि क्या ऐसा किया जा सकता है कि किसी कंट्री के अंदर प्रोजेक्ट्स को शुरू करने के बाद उसके रेवेन्यूज कंट्री को देने के बजाय इंटरनेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशन ये डिसाइड करें कि उन रेवेन्यूज का यूज क्या होगा. Based on previous experience, the bank had learned that a large influx of oil revenues could lead to economic distortion, corruption and waste. पहला जो इशू आया कि जब पैसे आएंगे तो इनका मिसयूज होगा. With almost $14 billion in revenues and $8 billion in total distributions, the bank feared Chad would be susceptible to these problems. To prevent history from repeating itself, the bank designed, with input from the Chadian government, a revenue management plan. World Bank president commented, natural resource booms are difficult to manage. This is why our knowledge of other countries' experience has been crucial to designing the project. In Chad, in particular, we want to make certain that countries' new wealth will be invested for the well-being of the people of Chad. With our help, Chad government has developed a revenue management program that targets oil revenues to key development sectors that are at the heart of its poverty alleviation strategy. इसने कहा, उन्होंने बात की कि हमारे साथ बैठ के तय करें आप इनको किस पर्पज के लिए यूज करेंगे, किन सेक्टर के लिए यूज करेंगे, जो अमाउंट आपके पास होगी ये पॉवर्टी एलिविएशन के अंदर कैसे कंट्रीब्यूट करेगी. According to projections, Chad would receive 1.8 billion of cash flows from the project in the form of income tax, royalty, and dividend. Over the first 10 years of the production, income tax would represent 16% of the total, while royalties and dividend would represent the remainder. Under revenue plan management, the government would have discretion over how to spend the income tax revenues as long as they were used for general development process. In contrast, the royalties and dividends would be deposited into a special petroleum revenue account and distributed in the following way. 10% would be deposited in foreign financial institutions and used to finance poverty reduction programs for future generations. जो कुछ रेवेन्यू होगा उसका 10% जो है ये IFC या फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन के पास जमा कराएंगे और ये फ्यूचर जो डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम है उनके लिए यूज होगा. Of the remaining 95%, 85% would be deposited in commercial banks and used to finance development program in 5 हाई प्रायोरिटी सेक्टर्स। 85% जो भी मिलेगा बैंक्स के पास जमा होगा और ये पैसे यूज किए जाएंगे 5 सेक्टर्स की डेवलपमेंट के हवाले से। कौन से 5 सेक्टर्स? एजुकेशन, हेल्थ, सोशल सर्विस, रूरल डेवलपमेंट, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर एंड एनवायरनमेंट एंड वाटर रिसोर्सेज। वो उनको कंसर्न क्या था कि ये कंट्री में सिविल वार हो रही है, तो अगर ये गवर्नमेंट के पास ये फंड्स गए तो गवर्नमेंट इनको यूज करेगी मिलिट्री पावर को जो है वो स्ट्रांग करने के लिए, और ये यूज होंगे फंड्स उन जो है उन सिविल वार्स के अंदर। नतीजा क्या निकलेगा कि इससे कैजुअलिटीज, ह्यूमन राइट्स वायलेशंस बढ़ेंगी और जो जनरल पब्लिक है उनको कोई बेनिफिट नहीं होगा। तो ये इस फंड्स के हवाले से कि 10% उधर जमा हो गए, 85% इन सेक्टर्स में आ गए। द अदर 15% would go to the government budget and programs in Doba region। 15% जहां से ये ऑयल निकल रहा है उसी रीजन के अंदर जो है वो खर्च होंगे। द 25 million पेमेंट फ्रॉम शेवरन एंड पेट्रोनास वाज नॉट कवर्ड RMP। ये 25 मिलियन जैसे चाहे खर्च करें। ओवरनाइट oversight and control of RMP would occur at several level। इसके लिए कौन कौन से वे होंगे? The World Bank and Chadian government would approve a detailed annual expenditure program that had to be reviewed by newly formed oversight committee। जैसे वो हमारे ये हवाले करते हैं। The government, the committee's 9 members, 7 from government, 2 from civil society, 1 from NGO and 1 from trade union, would be appointed for terms of 3 to 5 years. Each year, the committee would publish a review of operations that was subject to external audit. The World Bank would monitor the full program and retain the rights to review all expenditure. To ensure acceptance of the plan, the bank made implementation of the RMP a contractual obligation under the proposed IBRD and EIB loan। जब एग्री हो गया तो इसको कंट्रेक्चुअल कवर दे दिया। वो जो हमने बात की थी कि प्रोजेक्ट फाइनेंस के अंदर आप कंट्रैक्ट के जरिए जो है वो मिस अप्रोप्रिएशन, गवर्नमेंट की इन्फ्रिंजमेंट और जो है क्रीपिंग, उसको जो है वो कंट्रोल करते हैं कि प्रोजेक्ट फाइनेंस कैसे वैल्यू क्रिएट करता है। उसी बैकग्राउंड में इन पैराग्राफ्स को आपने देखना है। एज एन एडेड इंसेंटिव, द RMP a contractual obligation under the proposed IBRD and EIB plan। As an adding incentive, the bank explicitly linked the government performance under the RMP to future World Bank lending। आपको फ्यूचर में वर्ल्ड बैंक सिर्फ उस वक्त फाइनेंस करेगा कि आप इस प्रोजेक्ट के हवाले से आपका जो है वो फीडबैक क्या है। In 1998, the Chadian government took the first step towards implementing by passing a law that supported key elements of the plan, including provisions to establish the oversight committee and various auditing procedures. To further demonstrate a commitment to economic reform and development, the government privatized 45 out of the 50 state-owned enterprises, cut the size of the army in half, and reallocated public expenditure to increase development effort। ये उसी प्लान का हिस्सा। जो लोग इसको क्रिटिसाइज कर रहे थे उनका क्या आर्गुमेंट था? Right from start, critics attacked the project on all fronts। An official from a Chadian Environment Agency explained, there is not one example in Africa where oil has led to the development। Look at Nigeria, Angola, Congo, Gabon. They all have an overabundance of oil, and what do they have to show for it? We can even say that exploitation of the oil has retarded overdevelopment। What are the chances that things will be any different in Chad or Cameroon? इसमें से आप देख लें कि दुनिया के अंदर जो टॉप ऑयल के एक्सपोर्ट करने वाले कंट्रीज हैं, अंगोला और नाइजीरिया उसमें शामिल है, लेकिन इसके बावजूद ये दोनों कंट्रीज डेवलप नहीं हो सके। रीजन एक ही कि इस अर्निंग का यूज क्या हुआ। ये दोनों जो कांगोस हो ये तो आपस में लड़ते रहे और अब ये दोनों कांगोस आपस में मर्ज होके नया जो है वो कंट्री जो है उसमें कन्वर्ट हुए। While a report from the Environmental Defense Fund criticized the World Bank for participating, इसको मेरे ख्याल में सेंट्रल अफ्रीकन रिपब्लिक का नाम दिया गया है कांगोस में कंबाइन करने के बाद। The World Bank's involvement set a disturbing precedent of public support for oil development, which experience and analysis show has detrimental social and environmental impacts and few development benefits। The project is currently designed, has little chance of delivering the claim benefits to sustainable development while carrying major risk of irresponsible environment and social disruption. कुछ लोगों का आर्गूमेंट इसका फायदा कम होगा, लेकिन ये इन्वायरमेंट और सोशल डिस्ट्रक्शन के हवाले से जो है वो जो है इसके इससे एसोसिएटेड रिस्क हायर एंड पे है. इन पर्टिकुलर environmental groups such as Friends of the Earth, the Sierra Club, and the Rainforest Action Network pointed to deforestation and oil spills as serious risk. The potential for greatest damage was in Atlantic Little Forest Zone in Cameroon, where it would be necessary to clear land to make room for roads, storage depots, and worker housing, not to mention the pipeline itself. The decision to bury the pipeline only increased the chances of groundwater contamination and made it more difficult to repair damage. Environmentalists noted. Even with latest state of the art technology, oil leaks in pipelines can go undetected until a huge amount of the damage has been done. The most sophisticated technology has a detection capacity of leakage of 0.002% of the oil passing through. This means that under the best of the circumstances, 2,000 gallons could leak a day without being detected. And when the oil reached the coast, it would threaten two national reserves containing endangered marine life and Lob waterfalls, one of the few waterfalls in the world that flowed directly into the ocean. An oil spill in this area could cause irreversible environmental damage. Social activists too joined the course of criticism. They claimed that indigenous people plan was incomplete because it did not create a specific agency to oversee social issues as required under bank policy for and did it establish ongoing programs to address the future social issues. They also condemned the implementation strategy described in compensation of the resettlement plan. यानी तीन बुनियादी तौर पे चीजों की बात हुई. इसमें उनका एक क्रिटिसिज्म क्या है कि इसके अंदर तो ये जो रेवेन्यू मैनेजमेंट प्लान है इसमें कोई चीज स्पेसिफिक नहीं है. दूसरी बात उन्होंने कहा कि जो ये ओवरसाइट कमेटी है ये मॉनिटरिंग का मैकेनिज्म वीक है. तीसरी बात ये है कि ये पॉलिसी जो है इसको इम्प्लीमेंटेशन के हवाले से जो एनफ वर्क है वो नहीं किया गया. There are numerous examples in Africa and throughout the world where the bank has not been able to implement this provision, where poor and vulnerable groups, which are the ones who usually have to be forcefully resettled, suffer greatly as a result of resettlement, are unable to reestablish their livelihood. के बड़े प्रोजेक्ट्स के लिए जब रीसेटलमेंट की तो वो रीसेटलमेंट हिस्टोरिकली इतनी सक्सेसफुल नहीं है. अक्सर में ऐसे दो बड़े प्रोजेक्ट्स की रीसेटलमेंट है, एक तरबेला की रीसेटलमेंट है और एक मंगला की रीसेटलमेंट है. The most vehement opposition, however, centered on the revenue management plan, while no study described it as while one study described it as massively flawed. Another from Harvard Law School said the law is vague in essential parts and lacks the detail necessary to ensure effective oversight as it is. The law can be seen as best as the only first and clearly insufficient step. Critics were particularly concerned about the allocation of the funds, where RMP spelled out broad categories of the expenditure. It did not give specific details regarding permissible expenditure by type and region. ये नहीं पता है कि कौन से रीजन में कितने पैसे खर्च होंगे. Funds detected to one region could be used entirely for infrastructure, rather than addressing other social or health problems. An even greater concern was the fact that government could change the revenue allocation every 5 years. ये तो 5 साल के बाद रेवेन्यू एलोकेशन का जो सिस्टम है तो गवर्नमेंट के पास है, तो वो इसको किस तरह रीएलोकेट करती है, इसमें जो है किसी के पास जो है वो कोई चॉइस नहीं होगी कि वो उसको रोक सके. Luke Lemper, a visiting fellow at Harvard Law School of Human Rights Program and co-author, noted several problems with the local support needed to make the plan work. While itself represents a remarkable breakthrough in linking private investment development and human rights, it has also little chance of succeeding without will of the authorities of the confidence of the population. According to one high-ranking diplomat in the chart, the authorities understood that the law was necessary for World Bank support, but have little intention of allowing it to affect local practice. उन्होंने कहा कि इसमें इन्वेस्टमेंट करने के लिए ठीक है, इसके ऊपर चले जाते हैं, लेकिन लोकल प्रैक्टिस के साथ ये कोई बहुत ज्यादा कंसिस्टेंट नहीं है. Oil will not lead to the development in Chad without real participation, real transparency, and real oversight, none of which currently exists. The people revenue management, the proposed revenue management plan, and the law that was essentially imposed on the Chadian authorities is at best the first step in that direction. Criticism also focused on the oversight, committee composition, and powers. Only one of the nine members were from civil society. There were no stipulations to guarantee that they remained faithful for their organization. Moreover, the RMP did not specify how decisions would be made or how voting power would be determined. नौ मेंबर है, majority decision होगा, consensus decision होगा. तीन लोग कहते रहे कि जनाब ये नहीं होना चाहिए, बाकी छह ने डिसीजन कर दिया, तो ऐसी सूरत में क्या सूरत हाल होगी. Finally, the committee did not propose the right to obtain information, authorize distribution, or publish opinion on the project. One more fundamental level, critics attack the RMP as an infringement of sovereign rights. Petroleum Peter Associate Director of Harvard Law School Human Rights Program, commented, at the core is a challenge to the sovereignty of undemocratic rulers. Previously, no one would have interfered in the relation between an oil company and an African state. He who ruled the state controlled its resources. There is still hope of decline balance where the World Bank strengthens the loan conditions that reinforce the democratic process in Chad and enable the Chadian people to better determine how their resources should be spent. That would still threaten the sovereignty of the leaders and but would also empower the people. In opposition's eye, the project was not going to benefit the people of the Chad and Cameroon. Instead, the most likely beneficiaries would be project sponsors. Corina Horta, an economist and environmentalist, environmental defense, expressed her concern. The private sector, the oil companies, commercial banks are taking cover behind the publicly funded or guaranteed institutions. As the World Bank Group are the export agencies of individual countries, what we have is a financial structure where private sector risk is comfortably cushioned by public fund are intended to help the poor in a politically unstable area of sub-Saharan Africa. What emerges is a case of corporate welfare. Conclusion. On June 6, the bank and IFC directors would have to decide whether to approve this funding request. After studying the project for 5 years, it seemed like that they had addressed and corrected the most senior concern. Though committed, World Bank officials still expressed some concern. One can say it is a bit of an experiment, but it is not a choice between not doing or doing it. If we do not do it today, somebody will develop without the safeguards. As an institution dedicated to poverty alleviation, how could the World Bank turn its back on the only opportunity to effect the change in one of the poorest, most underdeveloped nation in the world? Mr. Madavo, a bank vice president, stated it is very, very important that World Bank as an economic institution not become so risk averse that it could only do the sure things. He went on to say, if it succeeds, would not that be wonderful for a story to be written 20 years from now that the World Bank stood up, did his homework, supported something that made a tremendous difference in Africa. तो जनाब ये सूरत हाल उन कंट्रीज की कंसर्न जो लोग इसकी सपोर्ट में हैं, जो लोग इसकी फेवर में हैं, उनके सपोर्टिंग आर्गूमेंट्स वाले से ये एक बैकग्राउंड. अब थोड़ा सा इसको एग्जिबिट्स को भी देख लेते हैं आगे चलने से पहले. ये जनाब एक सबसे पहले तो मैप देखिए. मैप के अंदर आपको ये चार्ट नजर आ रहा है. चार्ट लैंड लॉक्ड है. इसका मतलब है कि इसका ऑयल अगर एक्सपोर्ट होना है तो फिर उस सूरत के अंदर जो है इसकी एक्सपोर्ट थ्रू सी ही पॉसिबल है. तो अब इसके पास चॉइसेस क्या हैं कि ये लीबिया के रास्ते इधर जाएं, इस कंट्री के जरिए समंदर तक जाएं, या ये शॉर्टेस्ट जो है इसके जरिए एक्सेस किया जाए. अगर इसको और थोड़ा ब्रॉडर कर लें तो ये जनाब सूरत हाल के चार्ट के अंदर इस रीजन से इस ऑयल ने एक्सप्लोर होना है. ये पाइपलाइन कैमरून से होती हुई किरबी से जो है ये बाहर जाएगी. तो ये इसका थोड़ा सा इसका मैप यानी یا تو اس آئل کو پرچیز کریں اس ریجن کے کنٹریز جن کی اکنامک کنڈیشنز خود اچھی نہیں ہے, بہت زیادہ جو ہے وہ آئل کی بڑی مارکیٹ نہیں ہے. آئل کی جو مارکیٹ پوری دنیا میں جتنا آئل پروڈیوس ہوتا ہے اس کا 25% صرف ایک کنٹری امریکہ یوز کرتا ہے. جناب آپ کے پاس یہ تین اس کے اندر میجر پارٹنر سے, ایک ایگزون موبل, دوسرا شیورن اور تیسرا پیٹروناس. ایگزون کے اپنے یہ اوپر ڈالر ان یو ایس ملین لکھا ہوا ہے, تو اس کا مطلب ہے کہ ایگزون کے اپنے ریونیوز 187 بلین ڈالر تھے. یہ جس وقت کی بات ہو رہی ہے ان سالوں میں پاکستان کا جی ڈی پی بھی اتنا نہیں تھا. 36 بلین شیورن کے اور 15 بلین پیٹروناس کے. کاسٹ اینڈ ادر ڈیڈکشن تقریباً 165 بلین کی تھی. ڈیپریسیشن 8 بلین. انٹرسٹ اور ڈیٹ کاسٹ پے کرنے کے بعد ٹوٹل کاسٹ 174 بلین کے قریب آتی تھی, اور آن ایوریج 8 بلین ڈالر ان کا پروفٹ تھا. اسی طرح دوسرا شیورن کا ایوریج پروفٹ 2 بلین اور پیٹروناس کا 3 بلین. یہ سمرائز بیلنس شیٹ آف دا پروجیکٹ اسپانسرز. دیکھتے ہیں ٹوٹل ایسٹ 144 بلین ڈالر کے, 40 بلین ڈالر اور 31 بلین ڈالر. اس کا مطلب ہے کہ ایک بڑی ساؤنڈ بڑی جو ہے بیلنس شیٹ ہے جس کے اوپر جو ہے وہ بہت سارے ایسٹس موجود ہیں. لائبلٹیز جو ہیں ان کے حوالے سے اگر آپ دیکھیں تو کرنٹ لائبلٹیز جسٹ 28 بلین ڈالر, ٹوٹل بیٹس صرف 8 بلین ڈالر, 81 بلین ڈالر اور اکویٹی 63 بلین ڈالر. تو اس طرح کہہ سکتے ہیں کہ بہت زیادہ یہ کوئی ڈیٹ ڈیپینڈنٹ بھی نہیں ہے. تو ہم کیلکولیٹ کر سکتے ہیں کہ اس کی ڈیٹ ایکویٹی ریشو کیا ہے. آپ کے پاس ٹوٹل ڈیٹ بھی موجود ہے, آپ کے پاس ٹوٹل ایسٹ بھی موجود ہے. ڈیٹ ایکویٹی ریشو تینوں کمپنیز کی کیلکولیٹ کی جا سکتی ہے. نمبر آف امپلائی اس کمپنی کے 80,000 ہے, اس کے 31,000 ہے, اس کمپنی کے 18,000 ہے. نمبر آف کامن شیئر آؤٹ اسٹینڈنگ ہم نکال سکتے ہیں کہ ارننگ پر شیئر اس کی کیا ہوگی. مارکیٹ پرائس ایک شیئر کی $81 ہے, اور امپورٹنٹ چیز یہ ہے کہ جو سب سے مین اسپانسر ہے اس کی کریڈٹ ریٹنگ AAA ہے. اس کا مطلب ہے دنیا اسے لو رسک بزنس کے طور پہ ریٹ کرتی ہے. جبکہ ان تمام میں سب سے رسکی کون ہے؟ ملیشیا کا پیٹروناس. جناب یہ اس کا تیسرا کارپوریٹ سٹرکچر ہے. اس کو ذرا تھوڑا کیئر سے دیکھتے ہیں. میرا خیال بریک کریں, بریک کے بعد ان باتوں کو دیکھنا شروع کرتے ہیں. کوئی کوشچن یہاں تک آپ کے ذہن میں؟
سر یہ جو اس میں جو یہ ٹرائی اینگل سا ایک بنا ہوا تھا سر, اس میں جو آپ کے پاس باٹم والا پورشن ہے وہ کیا شو کر رہا ہے کہ ان کنٹریز یا ان ریجن سے جو آئل کی سپلائی ہے وہ آگے کیری فارورڈ ہو رہی ہے؟
کون سے والا
سر؟ یہ جو ٹرائی اینگل آپ نے اوپر شو کی تھی سر, ایک وہ جو پکچر جو میپ آپ نے دکھایا
والا میپ کی بات کر رہے ہیں.
ان دونوں کو میں مکس کرتا ہوں. یہ اصل میں یہ آپ کے پاس چارٹ ہے اوپر جہاں پہ کرسر ہے. چارٹ کے ساتھ کون کون سے کنٹری جو ہیں وہ اس کے بارڈر ملتے ہیں. یہ لیبیا ہے. اس کا مطلب ہے کہ چارٹ یا تو لیبیا کے ذریعے ایکسپورٹ کرے. وہ ہم نے بات کی اس میں کہ جو لیبیا ہے یہ چاہتا بھی ہے کہ فائنانس یہاں سے ہو, لیکن اس میں پرابلم کیا ہے کہ لیبیا کے کانٹیکس میں لیبیا میں خود بھی انریسٹ موجود ہے. لیبیا کی اگر فائنانسنگ کرتا ہے تو اس ریجن کے اندر جو پیسے یوز ہوں گے وہ اس چارٹ کی گورنمنٹ جو ہے وہ سول ہیومن رائٹس کی وائلیشن کے لیے یوز کرے گی. اس کے پاس دوسری چوائس یہ ہے کہ اس ایرو کو دیکھیں کہ یہاں سے یہ سوڈان جائے اور سوڈان سے باہر جائے. یہ والا روٹ جو ہے وہ بھی لانگر روٹ ہے. اور سوڈان کا خود بھی پرابلم کیا ہے کہ ساؤتھ سوڈان اور نارتھ سوڈان کے اندر جو ہے وہ سول وار ہے. آپ نے دیکھا کہ یہ تقریباً 8 سے 8-7 سال پہلے ساؤتھ سوڈان سے علیحدہ ہو گیا. اب یہ دو کنٹریز ہیں, ایک سوڈان جس کا کیپٹل خرطوم ہے, اور دوسرا جو ہے وہ ساؤتھ سوڈان جس کا جو عیسائی آبادی کا جو ہے کنٹری ہے اس کا جو کیپٹل ہے وہ ڈارفر ہے. سوڈان میں خود تیل ڈارفر کے اندر موجود ہے. تو وہ اس لیے یہ والا جو تھا یہ بھی زیادہ رسکی انویسٹمنٹ تھی. تیسری صورت یہ تھی کہ اسے جو ہے وہ اس سائڈ سے جو ہے یہ سمندر تک پہنچا جائے. تو اس پورشن کو اس نے نیچے تھوڑا اور سیپریٹ کر دیا. اس نے کہا کہ یہ چارٹ ہے آپ کے پاس, اس چارٹ کا یہ وہ ایریا ہے, یعنی یہ جگہ جہاں پہ جو ہے اس آئل کی ڈسکوری ہوئی ہے, اور اس کے لیے جو ہم پروپوز کر رہے ہیں کہ اسے کیمرون سے گزرتے ہوئے جو ہے یہ سمندر تک ایسے جانی چاہیے لائن. تو اس میں 3 چوائسز تھیں کہ یا چارٹ سے وایا جو ہے وہ لیبیا جائے گی, چارٹ سے سوڈان جائے گی, یا چارٹ سے कैमरून, इसमें से कैमरून का रूट भी शॉर्टेस्ट है और कैमरून इन बाकी कंट्रीज की निस्बत कैमरून जो है उसमें गुर्बत है, लो इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट है, लेकिन कैमरून के अंदर जो है कोई सिविल वार नहीं हो रही है। तो इसलिए जो है ये उस डायग्राम को एक्सटेंड करके यहाँ पे किया कि ये किस जगह से पास करेगी। इसी तरह कि आपके पास जो वो ताजिकिस्तान, अफगानिस्तान, पाकिस्तान और इंडिया तापी है, ईरान पाकिस्तान पाइपलाइन है, या कतर वाली की जो बात की जाती है वो भी इसी तरह के जो है मौजूद है। मैं किसी वक्त जो है शेयर भी करता हूँ आपके साथ। तो ये इसके साथ इन तीन जो स्टेक होल्डर्स है, इनकी इनकम स्टेटमेंट कैसी है, इनकी बैलेंस शीट कैसी है, तो इनके रेवेन्यूज भी ठीक है, इनके एक्सपेंसेस भी ठीक है, इनकी रेशियोज, इसका मतलब है निकालना हमारे लिए कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। अब यहां से बात शुरू हो रही है कि इस प्रोजेक्ट की फाइनेंसिंग के क्या चॉइसेस हैं उनके पास, इसको वो कैसे यूज करें, और फिर उसके बाद जो फंड जनरेट होंगे उनका यूज कैसे आएगा। ब्रेक करते हैं, 20 मिनट के बाद यहीं से शुरू करेंगे इस डिबेट को। कोई और क्वेश्चन आपके ज़हन में?
नो सर।
राइट, मिलते हैं जी।